Hey, I'm just going to show you my 2017 Promaster really quick. I'm going to show you the outside and the inside, most parts of the build, just to give a quick rundown of how it works. So we'll start over here. Obviously this is a side door where most people would come in and out of the vehicle like this. It's got a pretty wide breadth. I'm going to start over here with the sink. So I've got a 5-gallon water system and a butcher block countertop on top, and I've left the cutout in so it can be removed and used as a cutting board. It's got a stainless steel undermount sink. It's about 14 inches across and 8 inches deep. It has a trap in it and an electric pump that's controlled by the switch on the wall. You put this butcher block back inside and it makes a pretty much sealed countertop. On the other side of the van, you've got the same kind of butcher block countertop that runs down the length with this obviously stove and combo oven in the middle of it. You've got a pretty large drawer for storage of basically whatever you might like, but I would recommend cups and bowls, utensils, things along those lines, because you can cover most of your pantry's needs with these drawers, or sorry, these cabinets up above. They all stay open on their own. They have gas struts that keep them that way. The struts also keep the cabinets closed so that they don't rattle around while you're going down the road. Underneath the storage, I've got a 55-liter refrigerator, which has a separate storage space for dairy products and things along those lines. It's programmable. It can go down to 0 Fahrenheit. It can obviously go much higher than that if that's what you would like. It's got an eco mode and a normal mode, so if you're on a crunch as far as battery space goes, you could keep it at a more economic use. That closes, and it's got a latch here to keep it from sliding out while you're driving on the road. We've got another storage compartment here, which is really good for pots, pans, large cooking utensils, things along those lines. It also has a quiet close, or a soft close mechanism, as do the rest of these drawers. The propane for the stove is kept underneath this seat, which I'll show you how it's a seat here in a moment. These two pieces, or two sides of the van, both act as seats when in the right position. There's a slide mechanism on this side of the van and a support rod that I've got in a sturdy place on the side that hooks into the bottom of the countertop and can keep this locked outwards, like so. So you've got a cushion with a seat in the back there, and this seat slides out from the side and can be used as a small table for 2 people if need be. 1 if you're the only person there, obviously. Underneath this seat is the toilet when this table is put away. The toilet itself also has a latch to keep it from popping up when used. And behind this cushion is the opening mechanism for that, and it's got flushing capabilities, things along those lines. It's totally separated. Obviously the dirty water tank is separated from the top water tank and can be easily disposed of at any RV site. The bed itself is cut into the walls slightly so that you can fit a full-size bed side to side, and has nice windows for you to be able to see out the back if you were the person on this side of the bed. Both sides of the bed have outlets so that you can charge your devices. This side has an outlet which comes right underneath here and is basically flush with this side of the countertop. The back side of the bed also has an outlet in a similar spot, and I'll show you later. There's a piece of the door that's a storage compartment which butts up against the bed frame itself and acts as a nightstand. Before we go back there, I just wanted to show you the storage down this side of the van, which is pretty large. I've got shoes in here at the moment. I wouldn't normally keep them in there, but you can use them for anything you really want. Clothes, loose items, things that you want easily accessible, especially when you're sleeping. Also above the bed, if you don't want your main lights on when you're sleeping, we've got a rear light which can be turned on by pressing the light to the side. The main lights inside the van itself are also on a dimmer switch, which can be manipulated with this knob right here. So it dims, comes back on. There's also a light, or a set of lights over the kitchenette on this side, which can be turned off by this switch right there. The bed itself has a fan with 10 variable speeds above it to keep ventilation over the period of the night, and it also will include a separate clip fan, which you can clip anywhere inside the vehicle so that you can keep ventilation as maximum as possible. In the front, I just wanted to show you the driving space is separated from the back with some privacy curtains. They're blue to match the rest of the interior of the van. Obviously, when they're not in use, they can be pulled to the side, and you can see from the front to the back of the van very easily. The rear view mirror at the top here is actually a front and rear camera that are recording at all times, even when the van's off, as it's shown. It's on a 3-minute loop at the moment. You can see that it says 2:27 right here. So it's been recording for 2 minutes and 27, 2 minutes and 31 seconds at the moment, both front and back. So it's a good monitoring feature when you're not around the vehicle. And it's low profile, so nobody would, or most people probably wouldn't notice that it was there. So it's less likely to be conspicuous, I guess you could say. The van's obviously got a very clean interior. The upholstery is all nice. It doesn't have any tears in it or anything along those lines. It's been really well upkept. One other feature I guess I should show you here is this trap door gives you good access to the back of the van whenever the van is parked in a residential area or something like that. If you didn't want to access the back through the back doors, you could open this and you can keep it basically locked open with the same rod that you used as the support for the table. We've got 3 100 amp hour sealed lead acidic batteries back here, and actually I think I'm going to take you to the back to show you a better view of all those. So as we were saying, right from the front up here, I was showing you these batteries. This is a view of them from the rear, so they're easily accessible. If you wanted to get to the monitoring system, they're right here by the back door. This monitoring system has a computer built into it that can basically give you all kinds of data on your power usage. It also has a Bluetooth module connected to the top, which you can connect to your smartphone, so you don't actually have to physically come back here. The van itself will come with a wiring diagram, so if you ever wanted to change something in the future, you have the ability to do so without having to question where the wires go to or what's wired to what. The fuses are all easily accessible here. We've got cutoff switches for the solar, and the batteries themselves easily accessible. This is an inverter that powers both that plug in the front and provides a couple outlets for the person who's on this side of the bed if they needed them to be there. This is a storage container that I built into the door here that obviously you can keep a few things in the bottom of, but it works as a nightstand by butting up to the bed itself, so the person in the back of the bed here has a place to place their devices, their phones, things along those lines, and still allows you to have access to the charging ports on the inverter. The windows themselves will come with an insulated window cover that magnetizes to the windows, and basically, if you can't tell, there's a very large amount of space that I would recommend keeping gear storage or gear stored in. Different things that you might have that would be dirtier than things you'd want in the front of the van. Things like tools. Obviously, if you've been out camping and you had a bunch of wet items and things like that, this is a great space to keep them so that they're separated from the rest of your items without getting everything dirty. It's a very deep space. I'm 6 foot 1 inches tall, and I can come back here and sit basically fully upright without any issues. So there's a ton of space back here. You can have a couple bins for gear storage, whatever you'd really like. So after this full walk around, it's just wanted to show you that the van itself turns on just fine, doesn't have any issues. This is going to start it up. So I'm going to start there for a second. The only thing it shows is no seat belt and the door's open, obviously, because we have to have the door open to film this shot. I'm going to pop the engine and show you the engine running. If you wanted to look inside the wheel wells here, there's no rust. Underneath the vehicle, there's no rust. This is a vehicle that's been kept in Texas. We don't salt the roads here in the winter. I'm not on the coast, so there's not salt water that eats away at the paint or anything along those lines. The body is in really good condition. We don't have any issues with that. The vehicle itself obviously doesn't have a whole lot of cosmetic defects. Just for pure transparency's sake, this is the biggest defect I have on the entire van. It's one little dent where a ball peen hammer had touched earlier on. It doesn't have any, it's about as big as my pinky nail, actually smaller than that. That's the biggest defect on the whole vehicle as far as cosmetics go. The rest of the vehicle has no dents, no scratches. It's never been in any wreck or anything like that. You're welcome to check the VIN. I can give you that information if you ask for it. Other than that, this is the build. So in summation, obviously, there's a lot more going on in here than I could explain in a short video like this. I've linked a lot more in the description than I've had it in the vehicle listing. But it's a 2017 Ram Promaster. It runs great. There are no issues. I built the thing myself. I know everything about it. So if you have any questions, feel free to just ask me, and I'll be glad to answer them. Thanks.